Hi everyone, welcome to Live with Janome. Let me turn off my machine for a little bit less noise in the background. I'll show you what I'm stitching in just a moment. Here, let me get the camera on. Well, hello there. Welcome to Live with Janome. I'm Anne Hein, embroidery software specialist for Janome America, and today we're talking about Paintstitch. And many of you know I really love Paintstitch. I love to convert my photographs like this one into this thread work, and that is what Paintstitch does. And I made a really large one because I wanted to work with making a tiling scene. Maybe it goes this way, a tiling scene. So this is just two pieces just to show you how I put it together. And this is my final. I took the whole photograph. I sized it so it could be this giant piece. And then there are all these different panels that are in here. So this makes it really nice. I think we're about 18 by 16 across here, something like that, or 20 by 16, something like that. And there's 9 different panels in here. So I'm going to show you how I did this. And over on my machine, today I'm working on something new with Paintstitch. So let me get my camera back in the right position so you can see. And I'm going to turn it on for just a moment so you can see it stitching. I made a design that I drew in the software, and it's slowly stitching it out so you can see how it stitches. And right now it's doing a little bit of a background color. So I'm going to turn this off for a minute, and I'll show you the one that goes to in just a moment. Let me get back to here. I'm going to put on my software and show you what that design looks like that's in the machine at the moment. So let me go here and open my software and change my view so you can see that. There we go. All right, so here's one I did, and I'm just using Paintstitch for the background texture behind my embroideries. And then that one that's stitching is this here, except this white part, I'm making that black because I want it to be black, and then I'm just putting in whatever colors I want for it. So I drew these blobs, and then I created my Paintstitch from there. So I'm going to come back to this one because I want to show you first how I created the tile scenes. So you can do some things like that. So I'm going to go to open and show you. I took this design here and I split it a couple times so I can show you what it looks like. So here it is split, and I used a gradient behind it. I'm going to open it so you can see this. I haven't stitched this yet. I haven't decided if I like the splits, but I could split my design into pieces. I was able to remove the outside and all of that. Now, you can split your designs, but then if you need to edit them and you want to remove a color or change a color, I would first save my split design as a draw, and then I would open it, and then I would resave it as an embroidery file like a JEF, and then I would close that and open the JEF, and then you can edit the parts. As you can see over here, you can edit the parts now. A draw file, the Paintstitch, when it's as a regular Paintstitch, even though it's a draw file, it doesn't allow you to make those changes to it. There's things you can change with Paintstitch, but not the individual parts in there. So how did I do this? Let me show you the app that I go to, and I'm going to open up there we go. So I go to this app called Imagy.app, and in here I'm going to scroll down, and you can see you can resize, you can split your images, you can crop your images, you can circle crop. That's how I did the flower. I did a circle crop on that. And then what I did for the big one and even the little one, I did use the split image right here. So when you open that up, you can select a file, and I'm in my Mac, but you can do the same thing in your PC. I did crop this down. This one here is like 11 by 11. I already brought it into where you could crop it, and I made it smaller. And then when it comes in here, now you can change, if you want it to be vertical or horizontal split or both, like a grid, like I did my giant one. But to do those vertical ones, I just, and I don't have to worry about the blocks because I'm only going to do right here. You can see the lines are appearing, so I can split it in 3, 4, however many that I want. And once you have it where you want, you just press process and download, and then you can close that. And then up here in the top right of your computer, even on a PC, you'll see your download. And then I click on that, and then let me get this little thing out of the way for me. Right here, if I click here, it'll show me my download folder, and there's my split images, and there's 3 of them in there. Now I can drag it and put it in the folder that I want. So I'm going to put it down here. I want to put it in my no name. That's my USB stick I'm working in today. So I'm going to stick it there. And then I'm going to select that. And you can do the same thing in your PC. And here it is. It's a zipped file right here. And I did one earlier. All right. And to unzip this, I just have to left click, right click, and then open with. And here I can do the archive utility. On my PC, I would do extract, and then it's going to extract it into a new folder right here. And then once this is done, that'll highlight again so you can see it. And then I'm going to take the zipped one. I could delete it if I wanted to, but sometimes I just drag it back up and I put it in the folder up here. Let's see. There it is. Now I'm going to open this folder so you can see. There it's split it into 4. Okay, let me go back. And then this one here's and this one split it into 5. So we'll work with the one that split it into 4. So I'm going to open those up. And then what I'm going to do is just drag that window to the side just a little bit. And I'm going to open my software. And I'll move my software to the side. So now you can see my files over here. I'm going to open a new page. And then I can just take these and I can click them and drag. Even on your PC, you can have your Explorer window open. You can click and drag this over and let go when it's in your software. It'll open the type window where you can decide what you want to do with it. There's the little strip. And I can say open as Paintstitch and okay. And it will open it here. I can move it in. And there's the first part. And now that that's open, let me drag my window back so we can see. And let me get my properties open as well. Let's see if I can get these. There we go. Now this is a Paintstitch, so I can make my changes right here with my Paintstitch. I can change the palette if I wanted to. I could change the contrast here. I could make it maybe a negative one if I want. Excuse me, a negative one. Get a little bit of hiccups there. And so I can play around with all those parameters and get my picture the way I like it. Now, when I'm doing a panel, whatever I change here for this one, I do the same on each of them, so they stay the same. And that's how I created the panels for my large one. And then I was able to sew them together. But for the flower, what I did is, let me go back over here. And I'm going to take the next one and drag it over here. And I'm going to do open as Paintstitch and okay. And then I'm just going to put it right next to it like that. So I did them like that so they're all in one hoop. And once you have a couple of things in here, when you select them, you can use your alignment up here so that they are centered top and bottom, and that they have, let's see, that's how I want it. So you have equal space between them. So you can use your alignment tool for that, or you can open your grid and use your grid to place them. So I can continue to add the pieces just like this over to here. Whoops, let's see. Click, left click and drag, let go, change to Paintstitch, okay, then move it into place. There we go. Now, if I wanted to edit any of these colors, I would have to save this first as a draw file. So I would come up here to my save icon up here, and I'm going to save it under my flower, and I'm going to call it test 1. Whoops. Test flower. one. There we go. On your Mac, I mean, I'm on a Mac, but on your PC, this would be the first row of your Explorer. So you would pick a main folder, then you'd see other folders here and you'd select those. And then, and what happens is this actually moves over and then you can see what's in it when you're on your PC. So it's the same, it's just a little slightly different view. I'm going to save it as a draw, so that I have it if I want to change any of the parameters of the Paintstitch itself. If I want to go back, I don't have to reconvert it. I can make changes to that draw file as a Paintstitch. Now I want to go back in and I'm going to do save, or maybe file, save as, sorry, file up here, save as, and I'm going to change it to a JEF file. And then I'm going to save that. Okay, and now I'm going to close this one, my test flower one, and I'm going to go back into my open, and I'm going to look for a test flower JEF right here. So draw files will have the little AD flower, and then if it's a JEF file or other embroidery files, it'll say AccuDesign on there. So you're going to select that and open. Now it's a JEF file. And when I open up my properties or move my window over, you can see, because it's a JEF file, it's raw, but I can still select parts and change the colors of these parts if I wanted to, or I can hit delete and I can delete parts as I go. If I want to delete things out, I can do that. So now I can work with it this way and modify colors and do things like that. So that's sort of like a two-step process on there. Now, how I did the ones, I'm going to close this because I don't need that. How I did this was a very simple one. What I did is I'm going to open a new page, and then I'm just going to open my smaller hoop here to this one. There we go, and hit select to turn off my hoop. And then I just created a shape with my square, just like this. You can delete your outline because you don't need that, or you can leave it. You can make your outline a really wide satin stitch if you want, and that's interesting as well. And then from here, what you want to do, this is kind of fun, and you could save this if you want, so you have this shape ready to go again. But what you really want to do is go to print, change your print to save as a JPEG, then here, design only. So now you have a blue graphic that you can use for your Paintstitch. And I'm going to put save here. And I'm going to save it under my FLW. And I'm going to call it test square. There we go. And save. And it saves it as a JPEG. Now what I can do is, let me just open a new page. And I'm going to do from file. It opens up my folder that I was at, this one here, my no name. Here's my folder that I was in. And now I'm looking for the test square JPEG right here. All right. I'm going to, I can double click or click open. And it opens up to my type window. I can open Paintstitch. I want to crop all of this down. So I would make my little square a little bit bigger than I need so that it can crop away all the white, so I don't have to do any deleting of the white. Make my crop, or I can even make my crop very small if I wanted something like this. All right. Once I have that, I can select OK. And now I've made a really tiny Paintstitch. And I can do all the smoothing and blending. Maybe I want to change the contrast here or the brightness. Some things add more stitches. You can watch your stitches go up down here. I can also lengthen my stitch. If I make it like a 1/4 inch stitch, 0.25 IN for those who are using metric, it makes it real fuzzy looking. So these will be really kind of big stitches, but which is kind of an interesting one as well. If you made your, let's see, you can go down a little bit further, I think. made your stitch length smaller, you have more openings and your stitches are very tiny in there. So sometimes that you have to play with where you want that. And you can also play with the density in here as well. So now you can create an interesting background for something or texture. Sometimes I think this would look great if I'm going to embroider on a denim jacket. I could do this on the back of the jacket first and then apply embroidery on top of it, just like I did here with this one. Okay, and my paint stitch here, I made the density 0.039 IN and the length at 0.094 to get this little openness in there, which kind of looks kind of cute when you get that done. All right, this one here, how did I do that one? Well, let's open a new page. I'm going to go down to my smaller hoop just so it's, well, maybe there, if I hit change, that would be good. There we go, and turn off my hoop. Now, in that one, I used my outline shape tool, and, I just created some shapes that I thought were interesting or not. There we go. I selected my shape. I'm going to change and delete the outline because I don't need it. And then I'm just going to make the color yellow on that one. And then I'm going to do another one. Maybe I'll use my rectangle and I'll put a rectangle like right here, overlapping a little bit. I'm going to select my rectangle and delete the outline. I'm going to change the color of my rectangle to purple. There we go. And it does remove overlaps. And as I'm doing this, let's go to auto here. You can see it building off to the side. Maybe I want to use a circle. And maybe I'll do a big circle like this kind of thing. I'm actually going to put it at the beginning so it's behind. Well, I don't want that. So that's where I have to turn off my tool. There we go. Hit select to turn off your tool. Maybe I want it more down here like this. There we go. Something like that. I'm going to delete my outline because I don't need it. And when you're building things like this, it's good to use really saturated colors. So I might make this green so that it picks it up when I take it to the, when I change it to a JPEG. So let me make this, I'll center this. There we go. My next step is I'm going to go up here to my print because I need to make it a JPEG. I need to make it a graphic. Now I could draw something and scan it in and use that as well. Or I can scan in anything, or if I have something saved in my computer, I could bring that over. But if you wanted to create original artwork in the software, you can do it this way. And so I'm going to do this design only. And I know it's going to save as a JPEG. I'm going to hit save here. And then I'm going to save it under this folder here, and I'm going to call it mixed text. Mixed test. There we go, and save that. Now, I could also save this and stitch it as stitches if I wanted to. I could come in here and I could use different patterns on my pieces if I want to make it really interesting. Maybe I would use gradient on this one. Like that. I could do things like that. I could use my stitch flow tool over here. So I have a second design, so I can use it two different ways. And definitely I would save that. But let's go get that. I'm going to go to a new page and I'm going to go to from file and I'm going to get that JPEG I just made. And that one was, let's see, it was the mix test one right here. So I'm going to click on it and do open. And then again, I'm going to bring this down and I'm going to leave a little bit of white around this one. I'm okay with that, just like that. Maybe a little border. And then okay, make sure you check paint stitch and okay. There's my paint stitch. And you can see the green came different colors. So once I change this, and there's a color under this purple as well. Once I change this to a JEF file, I can edit it. So right now I can smooth it if I want, do high smoothing. maybe some blending. Maybe I'll do full blending, may add some colors, right? I can change my color number here to less colors, 5, oh, let's go a little bit higher, there we go, to 9 colors, change the brightness, all of that. I can make all those changes. Of course, the first thing you do is save it as a draw file. So this is my, go back in here, and I'm just gonna call it, what did I call that? Mix test 1, and this one's going to be the draw file because I might want to go in and change something in it at some point. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I'm going to change it down here to a GIF and save it. Okay. And then I can close it and go back to New and from File. And I want to look for this GIF file right here, Mix Test 1. And now, here it is. And you can see in my sequence window, the different parts. I need to ungroup them. And then I can change the different parts. Now this is all around underneath that. If I don't want that there, I can delete it, but it's going to leave a lot of opens in there. Maybe I would go back and maybe make that a different color, something more pale under there. So I could go to my colors and maybe make it, let's see, something more pale like this gray here instead. And then this, maybe I want this to be the same green as this one. And this one is that green. I would just move it up and we would have those two together like that. And then you can go through and make changes in all the colors that way. Now, a lot of those extra colors popped in because I changed my original. I used the color number in there. I brought it down to 9, so it reinterpreted those colors for me. So you have your options at this point. Let me look at this one. See, in here, this one is still let me see. This one is still a draw file. I'm pretty sure I have it as a GIF, and I will open that. Let me get a new page and open that so you can see that. And that one is, let's see. I got to see what I named it. I named it something. Oh, 2. Here we go. This might be the large one. So I had a very large one, and I did one big, and then when I took this in, the original in, I cropped it. So this now is a GIF file. So I can come in here, ungroup it, and then I could work with it with the colors on there. And you can see these two colors are on top, one's on top of each other. I might want the dark one first and the lighter one behind it, or I might want to change that dark color to something else, maybe to a very bright color like that, and then you can see how it makes a mixture of colors. So you have a lot you can do with this. Your outer part here is white. Maybe I wanted it to be black. I could make it black and have my other pieces pop out. So let me go back to the camera. There we go. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you're going to have a little bit more fun with Paintstitch. Not just use it for your photos. Get a little creative. Do a little bit of drawing. Bring in one of your artwork and give it a little bit of texture. There's so many ways to use Paintstitch, not just for your photos, but you can be very creative and think a little bit outside the box. I just love the texture. I mean, when you look at this is heavily stitched. There's a lot of stitches in here, but this looks like a very high-end wallet. I was recently at Longwood Gardens, and they had some embroidered wallets and things like that. And my kiddo was looking at them and saying, "Oh, look at those." And he's picking, he goes, "Mom, you like these?" I said, "Yeah, I do like them." And he's looking at the price. He's like, "Ooh." I said, "Yeah, and I could do that at home. I could just take some pictures myself, convert my pictures to Paintstitch and use it that way. Or I could draw something in there if I want and colorize it, save it by going into the print function, save as a JPEG. Then you have your graphic to bring back in and convert. all in the program. You don't have to go to your scanner, nothing like that. All done in the program. I think that's kind of fun. So I hope you have some fun with Paintstitch now. I look forward to seeing you again here in the studio. So bye for now, everyone.